You can do that online. Just type in that you want to do that, and a few services will show up, and you'll spend $100, and you'll be able to get some of these answers. That, but yeah, I think it's worth thinking about how good of a job can you really do to respond to that. All right,
Our whole goal
phone
with this
calls.
podcast, by the way, real quick, our whole goal with this podcast, which I didn't realize, but it's actually coming, it was just to name a bunch of people in camping so that later we can tag them and then just be like, hey, we mentioned, hey, add Dana. So random. We mentioned you on the podcast. Hey, Dan Weir. Hey, add Dan Weir. Just totally random, off the cuff, totally organic, by the way. We just mentioned you. Hey, Andy Pritikin and Justin, we just happened to mention you. Totally organic, totally organic. Just happened to come up in the run of play. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So for this next last thing, by the way,
Hey,
our
don't
friend
forget
Eric
Corey
Hillis.
Harrison.
Oh, sorry, geez, I knew there was one I forgot. Hey, I had Corey Harrison, who's got like this awesome gig with all of ACA now. Might want to tell your friends about it, like so. Like it wasn't a for sure plan for this, but what I'm seeing playing out here, which is going to be what we're going to do from now on, is we're just going to mention people. No other reason. We just want to force them to listen.
Doug, last week I got a text message from our operations director saying, yeah, the kitchen manager's not coming back to camp. I was like, wait, what? And he didn't get his visa. His wife didn't get his visa, who's our office manager. His number two in the kitchen didn't get his visa, and our baker didn't get her visa. So we basically just lost the entire leadership of our kitchen and our office in one day. Boom, no more visas. Absolute nightmare. Wanted to pull my hair out, stab myself in the eye. And other directors will know this text that I just started sending out to like all of my friends that I haven't talked to since last year. It's like the camp director version of the happy birthday text, where you like
Yeah.
look at the last time you talked was happy birthday, is like, hey, how are you doing? Have you thought about working at camp this summer? I need a kitchen manager. And it's just like the same 10 people that I've done this for the last like 10 years. But dude, two ways we got staff. One, my friend G is going to come to camp. Same thing. I sent him the message last year to try and get him to be my dietary person. He thought about it, decided not to. This year, he's going to come in and help run the kitchen. Violet's friend Steve's going to come again. Cold friend. He's like a chef at a cool hipstery Brooklyn food place, whatever. But the other one, I was thinking I should stop going to conferences. This is my thought. I was like, Doug, I'm done with conferences. It's not getting me kids to camp, and I need to focus. And I've decided I'm going to conferences. Going to all the conferences. I might go to more conferences this year. I posted on Instagram, and Dana, thank you, Dana Miller, just like respond. I posted on Instagram, hey, I need kitchen staff. She sent me an email or sent me a text like, hey, I've got 4 resumes about to hit your inbox of people that I didn't hire, but they seem great. And I talked to 3 of them, hired one of them, and boom, we have 3 kitchen staff in like 3 days, all because people are awesome. And it's like
Do
makes
you
me
think
like,
that like do you think that camp people we have other topics to talk about today, but like do you think camp people realize that this is actually a huge unlock? Like do you think that's like sort of known in the camp industry that we can just that like hey, you didn't hire someone like this the network effect of this is actually really important. I have no idea. Like yeah, I don't live in this world.
I don't think that there's a good system for like Dana just had this treasure trove in her inbox. She's only gonna hire one kitchen manager. Like she can't, what's she gonna do? And where do we pass these things along? And I don't mind playing like Rayette, who I hired, is awesome. She seems like an absolute like she seems incredible. So like no, I don't think so. And I don't Adam Grant likes to talk about like close ties and loose ties, and where loose ties are where so much of the magic happens. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to do. I don't have a good system for this yet. So I'll write about something once I have the beginning of a system, I'm sure. But like, how do I activate these people on the edges of my network more? It's like in nonprofits, it's like that's where your donors come from. It's like stewardship of those donors. Like it's like the people are donating their time basically to come work at camp. Corey Harrison, hey, congratulations, Corey. New COO of ACA, congratulations. But Corey likes to talk about how staff, you have to steward staff just like you steward donors. Like they're donating their time because they could go do other stuff and make more money elsewhere. And I don't know how to double down on this yet, but I'm in.
Not everything needs a system, by the way. I don't think like we don't need to systematize every single thing, although I would love to, by the way. But like I don't think but that's not gonna be for lack of trying. But I actually don't think that everything needs to have a system. You can just be a person who has a Rolodex. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend Mike Pacquiao, I'll just say it. He's huge in like this. I'll just say this. He's a huge in like the speech coaching space. I'm going to tell you, right, he doesn't have a system. And this guy is flooded, but what he has, I know for a fact he doesn't have a system. But what he has is a huge list of clients because he's great at the Rolodex. Like he's actually great at the thing that you were saying now. He's like, he will just shoot you a text if he's thinking of something. He's just in constant touch staying like, like, and maybe that's what you're saying is different, but it's like, you could just have a network that you just feel comfortable unlocking over time because you've met people. I like, and that doesn't have to be a system. It could just be good guy syndrome with a bunch of phone numbers that you don't feel bad about texting them about stuff. Like, I think there's like a difference.
I absolutely agree with that. But a system doesn't have to be a spreadsheet. The system, and I don't know Pac, but my guess is he has a system that's something like when he thinks of somebody, he just fires off the text.
That's what I mean, though. I guess that's what I mean. But like, that's not like something I'm not. He's not going to prompt it up and like turn it into a skill. It's just like something that he just does. And I think some things can just be things you do, and some people are really good at it, and some people aren't. But I think what you're trying to probably say is that everyone could benefit from probably being like X percentage better at it, or going to places, meeting people, and just staying in touch. Like, I don't know, is it just as easy as staying in touch with people? And then when you, by the way, it's okay to ask for stuff too. Like, it's like, hey, we're staying in touch. People love to help people. Like, people love to help people. And that will just drive action. So I think sometimes people feel like they're bothering people or whatever. It's like, no, I would like help. I need help. People like, one of the best ways to get people on your side is to ask them for help. It's like the old Benjamin Franklin thing. He was like, the best way to like get your enemy like onto your side is you go over to them and just ask them to help you with something, and all of a sudden you're just friends. Like, I don't like, I'm not, and it's not what you're suggesting here, but it's like the same principle. It's like, it's just okay to ask for help from people.
Well, I mean, doubling down on this podcast, why I again, how you convinced me to do this when I'm super busy is like, the other thing is when you do awesome stuff and you help other people, then they're going to come back and help you. Like, I've helped Dano do a million things, not because like it was like Machiavellian, because like she's my friend. I want to help her. And now I stay in her world because she like sees some of this stuff and she's like follows me on Instagram, whatever. And then she sends me this thing. It's like, hey, I got 4 people for you. I'm like, oh my God, Dana, you're an absolute hero. And every time I want to help her more, but right now I can't, but I will, I'm sure someday be able to help her again. And that'll be
Yeah,
great.
she's just gonna have to help you like 10 times, and then maybe you'll think about helping her once. Yeah, like, maybe 9 more times she shows up and helps, and then his majesty will decide if he's ready to help everyone else in the universe.
Dana,
Right,
if you wait, Dana, if you listen to this and you're in the comments, just give me some credit here that I've at least helped you 1 out of these 10 times. Just 1. I just need the credit for one of these things.
There we go. All right, a couple things we want to talk about today. One is, I think we talked about this a little last episode, but it's worth getting into, is like, we're going back, and I think this is probably worth it for every camp to think about, is to think about what, like, it's kind of a combo deal. It's user experience, the people that are finding your camp, and also like sort of what is it you want them to do? Like, what do you want someone that found your camp to do that is like the highest leverage thing that could happen to get a kid to camp? This is probably different for every camp. Although, okay, so for instance, it's almost for sure different for day camps. Like day camps are just different. It's a 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon decision. It's local, it's geographic. They got to make sure that like it sort of lines up with the schedule, and it has to be a good program, but it's just like a little bit of a different thing. So I think I'm probably excluding day camps from this. Many other camps need to decide what is the highest leverage thing that could happen that is going to get a parent comfortable with a kid to camp. Jack knows this answer, but it was also the thing that he said early on, was like, this is the thing that I want to happen. Like, there's one thing that I think I can have the best chance of getting a kid to camp is what? That's an open-ended question for me to ask you. That you're supposed to answer that like we prepared for the show.
Actually talking to me is the highest likelihood. And I don't want to, day camps don't get off the hook on this. A tour of a day camp facility is by far like,
yeah,
and they have the proximity piece. Like, it's going to be less than 45 minutes for everyone. Get them to camp.
Sorry, I meant to say that like what I'm going to say next probably isn't as important for day camps as it is, but it might be. Like, it might be. The point is, so for Jack, it's like, hey, if I can talk to somebody that's interested, I think I can probably make them feel really good about signing up for 6.5 weeks at K&E, right? It's a big ask. And very few people are one-shotting into registration and being like, bang, credit card, good to go. No further questions. See you in June. Like that just like is not happening. So, and by the way, I talked to a lot of camp directors, and almost every one of them agrees that the phone call is the way to go, right? And whether it's a phone call with you, the owner, or your director of parent experience, or like whatever it is, most camp people, as far as I can tell, the phone call is the most important thing. Okay, great, we agree. We're driving for a phone call. By the way, if it's something else for your camp, just slot that thing into what I'm going to say next. Every camp, I think, would be really benefited by looking at the entire architecture of like what you have going for your website, newsletters, social media, everything, and saying, is this pushing toward that action? Right? And by the way, just knowing about camp isn't pushing toward the action. Every step along the way, and I got this from my friend John, who's really good about this, and it's the right way to think about this. Does every touch point eventually get them to make a phone call? Doesn't have, like, we don't have to do an Instagram reel that says "call me," across the top of it. It's not what I'm suggesting. But looking at things through the lens of, am I one or two steps removed from a phone call right here? And I can go through some examples like of what I mean by this, but just on a high level, when we started to look at this, did you think that like the funnel was set up this way, like
No,
all
not
the
a chance.
way?
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Wait, but Doug, you're gonna go through some other stuff of this in a minute, but you go to the K&E website.
Yep.
Like, how do you decide how many calls to action to put on the website? Because we want to get your email so that we might get to call you later. Or do we just want to put a big phone button? It's like click here to call me. Like,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that? Because I don't know.
Not okay. So this is the distinction. Not everything, like I said, has to just say flashing, call me, call me, call me, schedule a call, call me, call me. That's really not what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to is the idea that at some point along this journey, this has to be pushed in a really clear and overt way, and you need to know that's being done. So I'll give an example. On the K&E website, there is just schedule a call with Jack. Like that's one thing you can just do it on. You can just do it right on the website, and if you want to schedule a call, it goes right to Calendly. You get the whole thing, blah blah blah. It's done. Like you can just go do that if you're so inclined. We have other things you can do on the website. You can sign up for the Summer Matters newsletter, right? It's like going out to parents every week. It's about kids in camp and summer and all this other stuff. Great. That's actually not, that in and of itself is not pushing to a phone call. But I'll tell you what happens in email one that they get when they actually opt into the Summer Matters thing, in Summer Matters newsletter. Email one is, thanks so much for being here. I'm writing about this every week. By the way, I love talking camp. Here's how you schedule a call with me. So I know that action of signing up for the newsletter is one step removed from asking from a phone call, right? Because it's not happening on the website. It's not going to happen on the website, but I know within one touch, it's going to push toward the phone call. Another example, contact form. This isn't up yet. It's like one step from being live, but it'll probably be live by the time this publishes. Contact form on the website. You just have a general question about camp. Okay, great. Everyone has a general question. I do not need to talk to Jack about, how deep the lake is or something like that. I just would like someone, I'm trying to think of that was a terrible example. Like I want to know something random question, like how do bags get to camp? I do not need to schedule a Calendly call to know how all my kids get to camp. Great. It goes into a phone. It goes into the contact form. The contact form lands in the camp office. Great. That's like pretty logical. The thank you page for putting in the camp. Sir, thank you so much for reaching out about K&E. We will be back to you shortly. Just a heads up. If you would like something answered quicker, you can schedule a call with me right here. Like it's right. The call ask is happening right on the. Now we're going to ask it again after the contact form gets responded. But see, like, does that make sense what I'm saying? It's like a long-winded way to describe it.
How do you Andy Pritikin's famous for day camps. Just get to a tour. Get to camp. If you walk around, he's gonna get you to camp. And so let's say that's their action item. But how do you think about contact forms? Call us. In the old school version, it's like you call your pizza place and you place an order for pepperoni with pineapple or whatever, pepperoni pineapple. People are sleeping on that, by the way. How do you think about the like AI chatbots that you can put into a website, or the like or like you said over and over again, schedule a call with Jack as opposed to here's
Oh
the
yeah,
phone
sorry.
number. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like, how do you think about all that? Like, we haven't talked about this, so the answers to these questions will become live in K&E because Doug's helping us think through this stuff. Everybody, just so you know.
I think I'm a little worried that I'm not the perfect avatar for this question. So I want to be really clear about that because I personally would never type any of this into an AI chatbot, right? Like I would never I am not a person that's going to ask questions that way. I don't get information that way. I doubt I'm going to. Really. I can't stand it. Like I was on an AI help thing with Zapier the other day and I wanted to just do something illegal. Like like because and I just couldn't get out of it. So I don't know if I'm the best version to ask this. I think that camps I'll say it this way. If you're going to do it that way, it has to be perfect. Like you have to have really tested this, I think, to know all the different questions that could be asked, and then it's going to answer these questions like absolutely perfectly each time for you. And that would make me like a little worried. Like I get a little worried when I see stuff like, set up a chatbot for your website and you just got to have like some documents and you'll be ready to go. And it's like, I just don't know if that can be stress test perfectly for like what camps are trying to do. I'm also like not exactly sure it sends the right signal either. I also am open to the idea that I'm not a great person to ask about this. Like, and because I would never do it. So I would be super, super hesitant to go this way because I just don't think it's the overall gestalt of like what, let's say, K&E's vibe is. K&E's vibe is hyper personal. You talk to the owner, you talk to Sylvia, you can talk to Sue, you can talk to someone. We are people, we are here, and it's like a really personal exchange. I do not see how an AI chatbot would help with that, even if the answers were slightly quicker. Like, and so that's my off the cuff answer to that. But
Sure.
like, but I do think that like, I'm open to the idea that you could get that done. And if like, let's say for Andy's camp, Liberty Lake. So like if they just had like, and I know Justin's like great with all the information and probably has like incredible SOP documentation all through the camp is my strong suspicion without knowing that like they have that thing completely locked down on like every single thing they're trying to do and say and what they're pushing for. I think for that in that situation, I like might feel a little more comfortable with it. If the idea was like, hey, we want to hey, thanks so much for your question. Here's your answer. The next best thing would be a tour. If it was like something like that, then I think that's reasonable. It's like medium answer, sounds good. Anything beyond this, I would love for you to just schedule a tour with you. Like, I think that's probably a reason. Now that I've like sort of wound my way talking into it, I don't know. Is that a good answer?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
hesitant
helpful.
about like
Just
I don't want to be like overboard with that one.
we're just trying to figure this out. I think that's the answer. The answer you're saying is we're trying to figure this out, and it's worth testing. And if you were Dan Weir, you'd say, survey 100 families from your local area that haven't signed up for camp yet, that are in the income bracket of the kids that you serve, and you can do that online. Just type in that you want to do that, and a few services will show up, and you'll spend $100, and you'll be able to get some of these answers. But yeah, I think it's worth thinking about how good of a job can you really do to respond to that. All right,
Our whole goal
phone
with this
calls.
podcast, by the way, real quick, our whole goal with this podcast, which I didn't realize, but it's actually coming, it was just to name a bunch of people in camping so that later we can tag them and then just be like, hey, add Dana. So random. We mentioned you on the podcast. Hey, Dan Weir. Hey, add Dan Weir. Just totally random, off the cuff, totally organic, by the way. We just mentioned you. Hey, Andy Pritikin and Justin, we just happened to mention you. Totally organic, totally organic. Just happened to come up in the run of play. Yeah, that's the whole thing. So for this next last thing, by the way,
Hey,
our
don't
friend
forget
Eric
Corey
Hillis.
Harrison.
Oh, sorry, I knew there was one I forgot. Hey, I had Corey Harrison, who's got like this awesome gig with all of ACA now. Might want to tell your friends about it, like so. Like it wasn't a for sure plan for this, but what I'm seeing playing out here, which is going to be what we're going to do from now on, is we're just going to mention people. No other reason. We just want to force them to listen. Like we just like this used to work on me all the time, by the way, and stuff like when I was doing that stuff. Because if you told me the best way to get me to listen to some dumb podcast that I never in the world would have want to listen to is to like mention, it's like, hey, we mentioned you we mentioned something you said. I'm like, love hearing my name. Like, love, obviously, good choice talking about me. Let's hear it. Let's go through all through 33 minutes of this Nets talk. All right, hit us. What was the next thing? I forget.
We're just gonna keep name dropping our good friend Eric Hillis. Come on.
Oh yeah, so Eric had this great topic. which was real fun versus fake fun. And I'm just going to attribute to him to having said it. He might have said he got it from somewhere else, but like, who cares? He can just be the one that made it up. But I thought this was an awesome topic that he posted something about, which was that like kids might not know the difference between real fun and fake fun at this point, and fake fun is probably like how we can picture it, which is like sort of passive. I hate to like just like bash scrolling all the time because I scroll plenty on Instagram Reels, like so, but like it's like over indexed on just kind of passively taking in the world around you, maybe via people you don't really know or like stuff that sort of like feels like it's happening to you, but it's not. Versus real fun, which is actually, your big one on this was actually like memory making and something that will actually like brain stick, right? Like, and in it, and I think a theme you're going to hear from us like going forward is this idea of like how can we just talk about things that camp is tangentially applied to without having to just be like camp, 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 right? But what are your thoughts on this one? Because this actually feels like something you would say too. Like Eric said it, but it struck me as like something that could have just as easily come from you.
Well, I mean, that makes Eric and I spend a lot of time talking to each other about camp, so that makes sense. I guess, like, I'm obviously all the way bought in. Like, is it better for kids and the world if they spend time at camp playing outside, getting up to stuff, or by the way, if they just ride around their neighborhood on bikes and get up to stuff, as opposed to like scroll on their phone? Yeah, Jonathan and I talks all the time about how we over-index on physical safety and under-index on virtual safety. It's like we worry so much about like somebody being in our yard unsupervised playing, like a kid doing that versus like unsupervised on Roblox and interacting with whoever, right? And again, my point not is to be fear mongering about screens. It's to say, okay, let's say that's all true. Everybody in the whole world essentially agrees that touching grass is better for kids than scrolling on TikTok. Who cares? How do I make that work for me? Like, of course that's true. Now, how do I get kids to camp?
Well, I wonder actually if we do a bad job. Yeah, of course it's true. And yeah, so I think what you're saying is like, okay, great, we all agree. Like going to the gym, okay, going to the gym is great, but how does it help me? Well, it's like, yeah, but that turns out to be like most of the gym marketing. Like, so it's like most of the gym marketing is like, hey, man, you probably should be here. And you're like, yeah, man, I should. And it's like, you want to guarantee that I get here? Sign up for a membership so that you feel more inclined to go because now you're paying. And it's like, I get what you're saying. It's like things to you are so obvious. I also wonder if you discount the part where it's super obvious to you because you spend all day thinking about it. And then there's another group of people that kind of just are sitting around sort of being a little annoyed by it without great reason, like without great ways to actually combat it. I'm talking about parents in this case, not kids. I don't think if I went and told my 15-year-old, hey, are you having real fun right now or fake fun? I would just get like double middle fingered. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think like, I'm not talking about her. Like I'm talking
Wait, but
about,
actually, wait, pause for a second. Every 15-year-old I talk to is in agreement that life is better in person. Every single one of them that I've ever talked to is like, yeah, no, we love being together in person. Now, I'm indexing mostly on camp kids, so they like whatever. But like, if you ask your daughter, she would also rather be hanging out with her friends in real life than in your living room on
agreed.
on the phone. So it's like they get it too. I think everyone gets this. The question is, okay, now what? Come to camp and it's all now it's real fun, but it comes with all these other like you mentioned your friend John who is a great guy who's like, yeah, camp is weird. I'm not sending my kids to that thing. Fair.
Yeah.
Camp is weird. But he wants his kids also to spend more time in person, I bet.
So you're saying how does something like that get someone over the Rubicon of like actually like making them into a decision? Well, okay, I do think there's a beat people over the head version of this, like which like needs to be employed. I think you do actually need to say it 50 times. You need to be told half a time, right? Like so like you're not again, you're the wrong avatar. Probably I am too. Like but there is a group of people that are going to need to be like for the Camp is Weird group. By the way, you're going to hear a lot from us on this one because this is like where we're going to have some messaging around that, like trying to reach out to this other group that's out there who just don't, that probably agree on some high level that camp is great and don't agree on a low level about like sort of how it goes about happening. Right. And I'm just going to qualify that as like being weird. But like, I do think there's like if I can just flood the zone, like with enough reasoning around this, then I can maybe win the land war, to mix my metaphors, sports and war. But like I can maybe win by, I just need like one of these things to land, or like the all medium land. It's like, right, I do think it's like a little weird, but if I'm thinking about real fun versus fake fun, and I'm thinking about forcing functions on like having no screens, and I'm thinking about it'd be great to be in person more, I might be able to then get over whatever barrier is like stopping me. And that actually might only be through, like, it's like kind of like the gym method too. It's like working out's good for your heart, working out's good for your brain, working out's good for your sex life, working out's good for your friendships, working out's good for your joints. Like, just saying working out's good in 50 different ways. Eventually, I'm just like, I guess I'm just going over to Planet Fitness, like to get my, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of their policy, and eventually it works. I don't know. I'm probably being long winded on this, but does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess like I think what you're saying is, what do people already nod their heads to?
Yeah.
And then how do we associate camp with those things that they already nod their heads to? So I think parents already nod their heads to this idea that, like, of course kids should be off their screens more. They should be on their iPads less, and they should be out touching grass more. And it's like, got you. Camp does that for you. And they're like, nah, camp is like, I gotta like send them away and they sleep away and then whatever and whatever, whatever. It's not for me. And it's like, oh yeah, but by the way, you know what else is good? Camp is also healthy because you're outside and you're moving and you're active and whatever. So camp is fun and healthy. Oh, okay, that's a little better. It's a little, and there's some, the people make decisions based on their identity, right? So they're like saying, I'm the kind of parent who wants my kid to be healthy, who wants my kid to have in-person friends, who wants, and then it's like eventually the bundle gets big enough. It's like, oh yeah, for me, camp is the right bundle for that. I'm in. Let me buy that. And then they
I'll
start
change
getting,
that one little, I'll actually change that one little piece. Like, so I agree with you, but when you say camp is, I actually don't even think you always need to even land with the end. Camp is good for that. I think you can also just pile up a list of agreements and having the messaging be associated with the place. You know what I mean?
sure.
So it's like, I'm just gonna all of a sudden pile up things that there's no disputing this. We are not going to dispute, should kids be in person or on screens? I even say on screens. Should they just be mindlessly scrolling TikTok for 7 hours? I'll put this like specifically what I mean. I really actually hate when people say on screens, because I think there's plenty of great use for screens. But like, let's just,
Agreed.
when I say that, we'll just say the thing that we would mostly deem to be like not great, high value things. So it's like, okay, great. Being healthy. We agree? Yeah, I agree. Being healthy is good. Okay, see you later. I'll talk to you later. Oh, by the way, it's from K&E, right? It's like, and just the whole laundry list. Actually, I think you just need to build up a list of agreements. And once we've agreed on all these other things, now I can just go for the left hook, you know what I mean? Or whatever. And just say, okay, now it's just time to come. We've already agreed on all these other things. So I don't know. I don't think this is perfect, but like, I do think that camps in general with their messaging want to explain why camp is so great to a group of people that have just already auto loaded that they think it's weird. And I just think that like that is going to be very hard to cross that distance. And that needs to be switched to be like, let's just list all the things we agree on. Tons of stuff, by the way. Like, we agree on so much. Oh, but remember all the things we agreed on? I just happened to run a camp and it's 6.5 weeks. And like, now you can decide if those agreements are good enough. And I don't know, that's like a hard marketing thing to sell somebody, but camp's a hard thing to sell. Like, I don't know. So I think that's
No,
kind of where I land on it.
I'm with that. Doug, I want to get out of here with one final question for you.
Go.
We got people listening to this podcast because they like podcasts. What's a good podcast that you've listened to recently?
Everyone should go listen to the latest Adam Grant podcast about like rethinking. He gets interviewed, and it's just about what motivates people and like how people work together. And Adam Grant's like really good what is it? Organizational psychologist from Wharton. Anyway, he's written a bunch of quote worthy books. It's a really good one. That one I really like. I was also just listening to the Compound about Halo stocks. So that's the other one, but that has less to do with That has less to do with camping. Yeah. So Adam Grant's going. Why? I think what was you
So if
gonna
you like
like?
Halo stocks, if you like Halo stocks and Adam
Yeah.
Grant, you probably like Doug. Now we know. Okay, throw in the nets and you're off to the races. All right,
I'm kind of off that.
real quick, one more thing before we get out of here.
Oh, well, hold on. What are you listening to? What was the
Oh,
podcast you listened to?
I just listened to the I actually never listened to this podcast before, but it's super big. The Invest Like the Best podcast. They had the founder of Airbnb on, and
Oh,
his big takeaway. He got famous recently. He went viral for this like idea of founder mode and like wiling out on this, but he sort of clarified it to say like what he's doing as the leader of Airbnb is like going super deep on a small number of projects instead of trying to manage everyone and just like be a good hands like manager from back here and that. He's like, nah, I'm digging super deep with Doug on this small part of what we're doing because I know that by doing that I'm leveling Doug up and showing him what it looks like to really do a great job the way that I see doing a great job. And it's like really helped me think like I've been thinking about that at camp like all the time. Like the kitchen staff that I lost. I could have been like, all right, Violet, like let me help you manage your way to finding all the kitchen staff because that's your responsibility. And I was like, nah, Violet, let's go on this journey. We're gonna find these freaking staff together. And like like it feels good. We win together, but also like she sees my process and like if I'm gonna do it, then I'm doing it the way I think is best. So she learns what I think is best, and it might not be best, but it's like
yeah.
my version. So anyway, it's great, great episode. And last one, Doug, who you got coming out of the West for the NBA?
I feel bad about this. I really don't watch anymore. Like I watched so much basketball over the last 5 years that I'm not watching as much this year. But it's hard to bet against OKC. But I can't say that from like any position of knowledge, except for like what I've watched in the past with knowing SGA and I will say from stylistically I can't stand the SGA flopping stuff. Like it just drives me crazy. That's like one of my least aesthetically pleasing basketball things that happens. But I can't say this from I haven't watched much hoops at all
Sorry,
this
New
year. What about
York.
you?
Sorry, New York. Wemby's coming out of the West, and the Spurs are taking the ship. I'm calling it. I'm calling it now. I've probably watched less of it than Doug, and I'm going to
That'd
be
be
more.
tough. That'd be tough because I've watched zero.
I'll be confident about it. All right, John. Hey, we'll see you next week.
Later.